Hi everybody, Michelle McLuhan, astrologer and life coach, and I'm bringing you an update on two things: the equinox, which is on the 23rd of September, followed quite shortly after by the new moon on the 25th. So the equinox happens twice a year, and this one is in the Southern Hemisphere. It's the spring equinox. In the Northern Hemisphere, it's the autumn equinox, and it happens 6 months after the reversal. So in other words, we had an equinox back in April, which was in Aries, and now this is a kind of a pivot point. It's a midpoint in the astrological cycle. The astrological cycle begins in Aries, the midpoint is Libra, and then it goes around, and then we have, in 6 months' time, we have another equinox. So the equinox is a point in our calendar, in our cycle, where day and night are of equal length, no matter where you are on the planet. So symbolically, it's always been seen as the balance point between light and dark, the balance point between inward and outward. If you look at the spring equinox, it's a time of renewal, of rebirth. If you look at the autumn equinox, it's a time of letting go, of surrendering, of shedding. So there's different energies, but there's a balance point for all of us. It's an inner shift as well as an outer shift. That's what the equinox point is. So it's really a good time to look back to see what was happening 6 months ago in April, and what we've learned, how we've grown, what we've conquered, where we are now. It's a really good time to look at that. So if we look further into what this actually symbolizes, and we link it into the new moon, the sun moving into Libra is when the equinox happens. Okay, so that is the arrival of the sun in Libra, which is the sign of the scales and is actually the sign of balance, or the attempt to create balance or to find balance within us. The new moon following that, obviously, is also in the sign of Libra, because at new moon, the sun and the moon come together in the same sign. So we've got a new moon in the sign of Libra on the 25th, 26th, and 25th. In South Africa, it's very, very late in the evening. So new moons, just to remind you, are always times of rebirth. It's a time to go within, always. It's a time where we actually go within and set new intentions, plant new seeds for a new season. Okay, this new moon is joined, so you've got the sun and the moon, it's joined by Mercury and Venus, which are in another sign, but very close to this new moon. They're opposed by the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's what we call a beneficial planet. It's the planet of higher awareness, higher consciousness. So this new moon is opposite Jupiter and also opposite Neptune. It's almost like the energy of pulling back. So I think of the archer when I think of Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet that rules Sagittarius. And basically, if you look at the symbolism of the archer in mythology, the archer, before he fires his arrow, he's got to pull back. He's got to pull back, pause, and then release the arrow. And I see this equinox and the new moon as a time to pull back, to pause. This is aligned also with the fact that we have 6 planets retrograde right now. So nothing's really moving forward. It's a time to pause. So if nothing's particularly moving forward as fast as you would like it to, pause. Take a moment to just be still, because it is a pivot point. It is a turning point. I believe it's a turning point in our collective consciousness as well as our personal consciousness. There's a lot going on in terms of conflict in the outside world still. We've still got Saturn and Uranus heading towards that square, which is happening this month, happening in October. They're coming together in that square. So we've got a lot of chaos outside. So really the question is, where do we find our point of balance, which is Libra? If we are on either side of the scale, we're not going to feel balanced. Another kind of analogy could be you've got a circle or a wheel. If you're on the outside of the wheel, going around and around, you might spin out. So it's a time to actually go right into the center of the wheel, into the center of the scale, and really connect with that very still point, which is the point of consciousness. Now, Jupiter, being in opposition to these planets, is saying, what have I experienced in the last 6 months? How have I grown in the last 6 months? How have my belief systems shifted? That which I maybe believed 6 months ago, do I still believe it to be true? What am I celebrating after 6 months? Who have I become? What puts me into balance and what takes me out of balance? So what brings me back to that still point and what takes me away from it? So there's no judgment here. It's just noticing. It's being the awareness that sees everything. And that's what we find when we go into the center of the wheel, don't we? So it's really a time in the next few days. Fortunately, this falls over a weekend, so we've hopefully got some time to actually just be, to go very, very quiet. New moon, very quiet. Equinox, very quiet. And equinox is where we usher in a whole new season, a whole new cycle based on what we've learned from the past cycle and how we've grown from the past cycle. It's a time to ask, what are our hearts whispering to us? What are we honoring in our journey? Who are we honoring in our journey? The Libra is a sign of relationship. So this can bring us to a point where we see things clearer in relationship, where we honor each other more, or it can also amplify where there's an imbalance, where there's conflict. Because Jupiter, although it's a beneficial planet, it also amplifies whatever it touches. And Jupiter's touching all 4 of those planets. Venus, the planet of relationship, Mercury, the planet of the mind. Those 2 are in Virgo, which is quite head-based, can be quite critical. And then you've got the Sun and the Moon in Libra, which is really about how can I help you? How can I assist you? How can you help me? How can we cooperate together? So Jupiter being opposite that can highlight all or any of those themes. But this is really it is a time of new birth, irrespective of whether you're Northern Hemisphere or Southern Hemisphere. It's a time to plant new seeds for a new month cycle, which is the moon cycle, and a new seasonal cycle, whether you're going inward in the Northern Hemisphere and moving into autumn and then winter, or whether you're going more outward, which is the spring-summer energy. It is that pivot point. It's the changing point. So I drew a card for this new moon this morning. In fact, it kind of fell out the pack, which it tends to do with this Divine Feminine pack that I have. And it's quite interesting because this card is the cosmic egg. Here it is. The words associated with this card is, I hold the universe within me. I am the force of an ever-expanding love, which is very connected with Jupiter and with the new moon cycle. So if we look at the cosmic egg and what it says to us, it says that the cosmic egg is the core symbol of the Divine Feminine's creative force. It's a spiritual motif found in the creation myths of countless cultures and civilizations. It represents a birth, a new beginning, or an expansion of life. So, I mean, could that be any more relevant to this new moon and this equinox? I won't go into all the cosmology, but it's basically, it's always seen as a golden egg-shaped womb. The entire universe is said to have emerged from it. In modern cosmology, it's believed that 13 billion years ago, the entire mass of the universe was compressed into a gravitational singularity, the so-called cosmic egg. And from that singularity, the universe has expanded ever since to its current state and continues in this moment to expand even further. So when your soul selects this card, what it says, interesting, is nothing needs to happen. Everything is exactly as it should be. Okay. Now Jupiter, which is opposite this new moon, is in Aries. And that's kind of saying, no, something does need to happen. I need to do something. This is saying, pull back, pull back. You hold the universe inside you. All life emerges from within, not without. If you try to exert pressure for something to exist before it's ready, that new life within you will not have the time it needs to fully form. This is very much connected to all the retrograde energy. If there's a lot of retrograde energy and we're trying to push forward when it's a time to pull back, we're going to get very frustrated and feel out of balance. The cosmic egg is the essence of the divine feminine. It's the ultimate symbol of the creative force that exists within each one of us. It's the dark, loving womb that holds and protects all creative expressions of life. If we allow what's within us to emerge in divine timing or soul time, then what's within us will transform us. The egg is the trust that what is ours can never be taken from us. So there's no need to answer the ego's push to rush the process, to impress others, or to complete something on someone else's timeline. The egg is the faith that our process is sacred. That even in the midst of what looks like chaos or delay or even death, there's a tendril of new life that needs only our trust to eventually take form. And the egg is the knowing that life begins again after death from within. Isn't that beautiful? And the soul voice meditation is, where am I ready to expand? I mean, that's it. That's Jupiter saying, where am I ready to expand? Where am I ready and how can I find that balance within me? The intention, I hold the universe within me. I am the force of an ever-expanding love. So just let those words really sink in. If you close your eyes and take a deep breath in and then release on the out breath. And just listen to those words. I hold the universe within me. I am the force of an ever-expanding love. And that can be found in that moment of balance, that balance point, in between the polarities, in between the doing, that place where we pull back and pause. Pausing is one of the most incredibly powerful things that we can not do. Do, but not do. Years ago, someone said to me, just pause in between actions. Just pause if you are spinning out. Just pause. Pause between sitting down at your desk and switching on your computer. Just take a deep breath and pause. Pause when you draw up at a place in a car before you get out the car. Because that pause is the pivot point. That pause gives us a chance to realign into this moment, which is where our power is. And then what happens is we don't drag whatever was happening before into the next moment. So if we've had a difficult journey, let's just say we had a interaction in the traffic or something, that we don't drag that into the interaction that we're going to have with the next person or the poor unsuspecting cashier or something like that. So bring in the pause, especially in the next few weeks when things might get quite hairy on our planet. They've been hairy for a long time, but it seems like there is a build-up of energy and kind of a culmination point. And I believe this is a testing time for us to see if we can hold our center, hold our balance, find our peace. The peace is always there. It's always there underneath all the noise. We just have to remember that and realign to it over and over, as many times as we need to in a day. As many times as we need to. I am in the present moment. I am protected and supported in this present moment. And then allow that to actually feed into your new intentions for the season. Allow that to be the pivot point, the center point, the birthing place of whatever your intentions are for the next season. So that gives you a little bit of an insight as to what's happening up there in the cosmos. If you'd like to make the most of this energy, you're still welcome to join John and I on our Journey to Freedom course. We have started. We're still in the first week, and you're still welcome to join us. You can join us for free for the first week and then sign up for the full journey if you like after that. It'll be the last one we have in this year. And we also are exploring this theme of finding your balance in our Inner Space group, which is our monthly community group. If you would like a reading or a follow-up reading or a coaching session, you're very welcome to contact me. Just send me a message. My details are down below as well. So thanks everybody. Remember to take deep breaths. Ask yourself, where are you ready to expand? What are you ready to expand? And remember, you hold the universe within you. You are the force of an ever-expanding love. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a beautiful equinox, new moon, and weekend.